Welcome everyone to the PJ's Cast. I'm your host Pierce, alongside of my good pal Dylan. It's been a while. As a matter of fact, the last time we recorded was the day before the playoffs, and a lot has happened since then. We're not going to be able to cover all of it, but what we are going to be covering today is what happened earlier today, the draft lottery, and we're going to be talking about the first round and the second round so far. Um, I don't know what your thoughts were on the draft lottery. Nothing happened, which I mean, last year was so chaotic. I was watching our reactions from last year when the Blackhawks moved up from 3-1 and got the right to select Connor Bedard, and just how crazy it was, and how this year was so anticlimactic. But that's kind of how you wanted it to be. Blackhawks stay at second; they don't move up, get first, but still staying at second, you still got to like the players that will be there at number two. I just want to hear what your thoughts were on the Blackhawks staying at number two.
I think it's a great spot to be in. I mentioned it to you when we were texting about it. If you weren't going to have number one, you might as well have number two. Gives you your pick of the litter after Celebrini, because I think we all know Celebrini's going one.
Yeah.
Good for the Sharks. They need a franchise cornerstone to start or kickstart that rebuild, and that's a perfect guy to do it. But
And apparently has roots to the area too.
Yeah,
I mean,
he played for the Junior Sharks or something. Yeah,
mm-hmm.
His dad's the head of medicine and for the Golden State Warriors. Like,
yeah,
he's got big connections for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It should be a fun fit. As for the Hawks, the ball's in Kyle Davidson's court now. We have been, theorizing for months whether he's going to prefer a defenseman or a forward. Well, he gets his pick of the litter from either one now. If he sees Artem Levshunov as the best defenseman on the board, that's the way he's going to go. If he sees Ivan Demidov as the guy who's going to be the Malkin to Bedard's Crosby, you take Ivan Demidov. If he sees something else that you think could be on the list, like Caden Lindstrom, like even Salayev, like a Dickinson or something, like cool. It's his call right now. And it's going to be very interesting to see what they do in the coming months, especially when Milstein does his camp for Demidov and the Russian prospects. Because I think as of right now, that's the move. It kind of has to be, I think, just in terms of upside, in terms of play style, in terms of how he's already performing in the KHL and the KHL playoffs. Like, I think it's a no-brainer. But also, Davidson could look at the defense core and say there's not a true one. And if he thinks Levshunov can be a one or any of those guys, then how can I be against drafting a number one defenseman? You know what I mean? So it's a really good spot to be in. It's basically what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
My voice might not say it, but because it's funny, like I got on my break at like 6:50, so I turn it on just to see that the top three Chicago or San Jose, Chicago, Anaheim. I was like, okay, so no one moved. And then it gets to the top two, and I was just like, I'm going to start laughing like a hyena in my car if this happens again. And then they got second, and I was just like, okay, that's fine.
All right, man.
That's fine.
Yeah, we can work with that. Yeah, exactly.
For sure. And that doesn't even take into account that, Butcher Gross leaked one of the rehearsals or whatever.
Oh, yeah, I wanted to bring that up. Everyone gone,
yeah. You can get into that. Sorry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was going to say, like, everyone went into a frenzy when they saw that, and then he deleted the tweet and then said, "Oh, it's just a rehearsal." And yeah, that makes sense. But I mean, we've seen in years past with 2019 the top three being leaked, and then even last year, I think what was it? Kevin Weeks said like the top two picks before they even hit the top something. I can't remember what it was, but of course everyone was skeptical. But obviously, it didn't play out like that. Again, no one moved up, no one moved down. Like, congrats to the Sharks again, like we mentioned that earlier. Macklin Celebrini being that franchise building block, maybe not on the level of a Connor Bedard as a first overall pick or Austin Matthews or Connor Bedard, but
I think he is. That's the thing. I think he's on that level of Matthews and stuff. Like, you look at what he did in college as an 18-year-old. I didn't mean to cut you off, but
he's not even 18. Well, to prove your point, he's 17. Yeah.
That's the point. Like, what he's done, and I think Mitch Brown put it best. Like, he is just all the stuff that you would think, like, oh yeah, he's got to improve on. He improved on, and then the stuff he was good at, he got better at. So this is a player that knows his weaknesses, knows how to evolve his game. Like, he is a bona fide number one center, I got a thing on that team. He's going to be a special player. Like, it would not surprise me if he's 50, 60 points on that bad Sharks team as an 18-year-old in the NHL. And there's not a doubt in my mind he's suiting up for the Sharks opening night.
Oh, easily, yeah.
Sorry, I didn't
admittedly,
mean to
like,
cut you off.
oh no, it's fine. And admittedly, I haven't watched as much as the prospects as I have in previous years, but that's kind of just what I heard. And that's not to say like I don't think he's had the same hype, but I certainly think he can have that impact. Like again, he's
Oh,
going to step into the lineup and probably be their number one center, and again probably put up 50, 60 points, be in the Calder race, and transfer that franchise that is a year behind what the Blackhawks are, and they've gone through a lot. The Sharks, like obviously they were a team that was consistently good for almost 20 years, it felt like, but then once COVID hit, all the old players they had on their team caught up to them, and they've started to make some moves. Like obviously they've traded Brent Burns, they traded Erik Karlsson, and got rid of Thomas Hertl, and then you wonder like is someone like Logan Couture next? But yeah, you got Macklin Celebrini now, and like even last year, like Will Smith, they got Quentin Musty, and then the year before that, it was 2021, they got William Eklund. Like they have pieces there. It's starting to form together, so that's cool for the Sharks.
They're also getting pick 14 too this year from Pittsburgh, which is pretty sweet. So,
freaking sweet.
Karlsson, if I had a nickel for every time the Karlsson pick was not in the 20s, I'd have 2 nickels, except one was third overall.
Which isn't a lot, but it's happened twice, yeah.
For real. But like that puts him in such a prime spot to either get in one of the secondary forwards or go get a defenseman, because this is such a deep defenseman class. Like I have to imagine guys like Juracek, Yakimchuk, like Bouillon, like all of those guys are gonna be hanging around there for 14, and that's like perfect for what San Jose needs. Because as much as Celebrini's no brainer, you still got to do something to address that back end in this draft. I feel like, and 14 is going to be a perfect spot to do that for them. Just like how the Hawks are set up with 2 and 20 to do exactly the same thing.
Yep,
if they want to.
Yeah, they just dropped back spots from last year. They had 119 last year. Now they have 2 and 20.
Oh no!
Oh no!
We still only have. It's actually nuts. They've had, after this year, they'll have 6 top 20 picks in the system, and that's not including Renzel, who was like 25. So that also, and like guys like Kanserov, who have, I think, elevated from being a second round prospect just from how.
Garden Cup champion Roman Kanserov.
Top line Roman Kanserov, like he. It's going to be a fun prospect pool, and that's why I feel like you get one more forward. Or if this could be the class you take a defenseman. Like from everything I'm reading, next year's draft class is going to be a heavy forward class. So this could
with Gavin McKenna. Oh wait, he's not till 2026.
Yeah, that'll be the year they win the lottery again, just to piss everyone off. I think Gavin can get another generational prospect. McKenna's sick though; he's so good. He's going to be a problem in the NHL, but like I said, ball's in Davidson's court. I got to think it's Levshunov or Demidov at this point. Anyone else, that's his call. That's going to be something that, develops over the course of the next couple months when you interview these kids and do the combine and go over the tape and whatnot. But, look at Davidson when the 3rd pick got announced. That dude was grinning ear to effing ear when he knew he was getting top 2 again. It's a sweet spot to be in for the Hawks. And I think my curiosity now stems to, let's say they do go Demidov. How long does it take for him to get over to North America? Because I've heard stuff. Sorry. Go ahead.
I think you're going to say it too, but I saw something that he's trying to get over to North America right now and get out of his contract in the KHL.
If this dude can ice in 2024, good night. But if it's even 2025, that's so huge. Because in my head, I'm like, yeah. We could get him, but we probably won't be until 2026 to get him. It's like a Michkov thing. But if he's trying to get out of that contract already, oh man, get him to the States and glue him to Bedard's wing forever, please. Or even do the Taves and Kane thing, split them up and they both drive their own line. That's such a good spot to be in if you draft Demidov. I feel like, and you know me, I was high on him early last year before he got hurt, and then he was lighting up the MHL, and that's why he was on the KHL. And I don't know. There's not a lot of flaws in his game from what I can tell.
Yeah, if he stays in North America, we've seen guys like Vladimir Tarasenko, Evgeny Kuznetsov spend 3-4 years over in Russia and then come over and be worth the hype and win Stanley Cup championships with their team. And then obviously another example, Kirill Kaprizov coming over and making the Minnesota Wild somewhat watchable, winning the Calder Trophy and getting a
Kaprizov's been electric. That's nothing against him.
No. But yeah, I think the priority draft for the CHL is happening soon. I don't know if a team already holds Ivan Demidov's rights, but so played for St. Petersburg. Played 4 games in the KHL last year, 0 points. I mean, whatever. But
It's the
in
MHL. It's crazy.
30 MHL games, 60 points.
Whole game. Like, it's insane. He's so good. Oh, gosh.
I think they go Demidov right now, just how I'm feeling. Like, I think they want to get the Robin to Connor Bedard's Batman. I hate being the person that's like, yeah, we need tall players in there, but I mean, look at the Tampa Bay Lightning. Like, look at Braden Point. Like, that could be your Connor Bedard, and look at Nikita Kucherov. Both guys are sub 6 feet tall, and look what they've done. So, I mean, it doesn't have to be all tall guys because they haven't drafted a lot. Like Connor Bedard, under 6 feet tall. Frank Nazar, under 6 feet tall. Oliver Moore, I think, is 6 feet tall. Right there. Like, they don't have a lot of big boys, but at the end of the day, you got to draft the most skilled player available, and that to me is Ivan Demidov, or maybe they do go Artem Levshunov to really round out the defensive core and be that all-around minutes-eating defenseman who can kind of do it all. Or maybe they go Kane Lindstrom. I feel we'll maybe get a few more names mentioned as it gets closer to the draft, and I would think there's no way they don't take a look at Silyeyev, because if they're looking at Demidov and how they've been building this defense, like they have to do their due diligence on Silyeyev. Even Sam Dickinson for the London Knights, who is kind of like Korchinski in that he has a later birthday and is also a big mobile toolsy defenseman. I mean, hey, having 2 Dickinsons wouldn't hurt. So
the memes write themselves.
Oh, of course.
But
oh, sorry, you go.
I just wanted to say, like, even if they do go Levshunov, like, you basically just get Korchinski's defensive partner for the next decade potentially, or Vlasic's or Del Mastro's, like, depending on however the decor shakes out. And that's a guy who I would imagine goes back to Michigan State and then signs on at the end of next year. That could also be a guy who signs straight out of camp for all we know. Like that, he's a guy who could be closer to pro ready than a lot of people think. And from what it sounds like with the scouting, it just depends on the team. But like he could take a Simon Nemeth route or Simone Nemeth route where it's 1 year down low and then just take him to the show and let him go. But I feel like, and this is where I feel like we had this talk when we drafted Bedard last year, but like now it's really a thing because the Leafs are going to have to blow it up. Like if they draft Levshunov,
we'll get into that later.
Yeah, like if they draft Levshunov, how could you not sniff around Mitch Marner for Seth Jones at that point? I'm so serious.
Elliot Friedman was spitballing it.
Oh,
I mean, you don't just say that.
We've been spitballing it for 2 years. Like, let's go.
I mean, Elliot Friedman wouldn't just spitball just to spitball. Like, there's got to be something there.
Dude, they tried to trade him to Ottawa 2 years ago, and he wouldn't waive his no move. Like, this is a real thing they've been trying to do since Davidson got a hold of the team. And I don't think you're going to get a better chance. Like, I'm thinking Seth and the Tampa first for Marner. And you just extend Marner at July, and you got Bedard's winger, and you drafted your number 1 defenseman. Like that could be possibly the best outcome of this draft at the end of the day. It really just comes down to what this management group wants to do. I think they're in a position where you stack on forward and build the defense through free agency to help with the defense you've already gotten. But Davidson could think otherwise. Like, there's just part of me that's like, you could take a forward now. And in 2 years, if you really do need that top 4 defenseman, there's going to be guys like Jacob Chychrun available that would be more than willing to take $8 million from Chicago.
Nephew of Luke Richardson, Jacob Chychrun.
I'm just saying, like, I feel like defense is an easier position to have by committee. Like, you just don't see teams winning without a star at forward.
Yeah,
it doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. And you can argue, oh, well, the Kings did it. Like, Kopitar was a stud. Like, people need to shut that up real quick. Like, I guess the Blues, but even the Blues had Tarasenko lighting it up. Like, you need to have
O'Reilly was really good. Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, O'Reilly won the Conn Smythe, of course. Like, you just need that star talent up front. And I feel like if your 2 biggest stars are Bedard and Demidov, it's a pretty good place to start. And then you add 1 more next year potentially, and then you got all those secondary guys you drafted. Plus, if you get a Demidov, like, that allows you to either kick Moore to wing or Nazar to wing, and you can put one of those other 2 at second line center, and you just make your top 6. all nang, all speed. It's just going to be a problem.
Yeah.
And like I got the Dallas Colorado game on right now. Like, how else are you going to compete with these forward cores?
Oh
Like,
my
seriously.
Lord, Dallas, crazy, and the Colorado. Like, I'm surprised they dealt. Again, we'll talk about it later. I'm surprised how they dealt with the Jets, but we also said like there's a possibility where their top stars go off, and that's exactly what happened. And Gorgiev wasn't a sieve, so maybe as good as Peter Mrazek. Maybe not there yet, but we won't go crazy.
Not all people can be the best player on the Blackhawks last year. Not Nate Bedard. That's a whole other. Actually, third best player. Vlasic second. But
speaking of which,
I was gonna say
yeah. Yeah, again, we haven't done a podcast, I think, in almost 3 weeks now, like 2.5 weeks. Like, we were gonna record in Charlotte, but like it's so hard to when there's 4 of us, and it's like we want to watch movies, we want to chill. Like, we were gonna stream the NFL draft too, or like now, but
well, we were going to, but your computer was messing up, so then we brought mine the next night, working. And it was just like not in the cards. Like
his ass was not working. My laptop, or my dad's laptop, I should say.
Literally.
But yeah, when we hanged out in Charlotte for a few days, on like, so I had like a whole day of traveling pretty much. Like, I went to the LA airport, of course, heading there. I think it was the night of game 2 of Oilers and Kings. So there were a bunch of Oilers fans on the plane trying to catch game 3 and game 4. So they got a 4-hour layover in LA, watched a bit of the game. It was so back and forth, and Stuart Skinner sucked. But of course, that's the only game they've lost so far because they went on to win that series 4-1. But yeah, then flew into Atlanta and then waited there a couple hours, met up with MP for the first time, which was cool. And then Connor, our good friend Boomer, picked us up from the airport, drove there, and while we were in the car, like, I think the Vlasic extension news broke, and then same with Bob Cole. I'm like, God damn, it's a roller coaster of a ride right here. But yeah, Alex Vlasic, 6 years contract. I mean, what else can you say besides a sweetheart deal? I think it's a deal that both sides can love. I don't think Alex Vlasic was coming into this year expecting he was going to do this well. Like, I think he even said, and the interviews after the closing interviews after he's like, yeah, I reached my goal. I think I did pretty well, and I would agree. And he gets rewarded with a very nice contract, and Blackhawks get a very team-friendly contract for the next 6 years. And it would have been nice to have 7-8 years, yeah, but I mean, you can't complain. 6 years at 4.6 is, again, sweetheart deal. I don't know what else to say other than that, but that's the first long-term contract of that Kyle. Did I freeze up?
Yeah, a little bit.
God damn, my internet's fucking up. Okay, we'll continue. I'll let you talk about Vlasic's contract.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, what else to say about this guy besides he was a top pairing shutdown defenseman at 22? There's a lot to ask on a terrible Hawks team. And like, I know I'm not the biggest plus minus supporter, but like, to have a plus on this team where guys like Bedard were minus 40 this year, it speaks a lot to his game at 5-on-5. I think this is the best defensive partner Seth Jones has had since he's come to the Blackhawks. Like, I think that's a reason you sign him for 6 years. He's here for the rest of Seth Jones's deal.
Yeah.
So if you're going to keep those two, that's your pairing for the next 6 years. Whether it's your first pair, whether it's your second pair, whether it's your third pair, that's how it is. You keep those two together. I don't think you mess with that next year. That's your top pair going forward.
That's, Jones' trade for Marner then.
Well, sometimes shit
we'll deal with that later.
Oh, no, you're only going to have to play with Chris Tanev now. Oh, darn. But
or Brett Pesce.
Yeah, exactly. Or Sean Walker.
They got money to play with.
I don't know. But yeah, it's one of those situations where you locked him up at the right time for almost a perfect length. Like, I would have gone for 8 with him, but I get Vlasic. It's a good spot for Vlasic because he'll be up at 28, and you can get one more big contract out of that.
That's what I was going to bring up. Like, that's what I think. I think it's just a good contract for both sides. Like, obviously from the Blackhawks, it would have been nice if they got him 7, even 8 years, but I think 6 years is still quite fine. Get him locked up for all his young years, and I mean, from Vlasic's end, like, you get a pretty nice pay raise, and then once it's done, like, he could potentially test the market when the cap has gone up a lot as a 29-year-old. And maybe if he adds some offense to his game and becomes a guy like that gets 30, points on a consistent year-to-year basis, then that could cash him in even more next time in free agency. But yeah, 6 years is a long time, so let's enjoy Vlasic for all he was here. Because man, like I haven't had a shutdown defenseman like him since Nick Jolverson.
For sure. And it gets exciting just thinking about that, because we always talked about like it took so long to find one like this. And the closest thing we had was Murphy, and Murphy has his moments and he can't stay healthy. Like, it's just what it is. Like, you got to call a spade at this point. But the fact that he took this big of a step in his development is one, a reason why you don't give up on 21-year-olds. Two, is another reason why you're patient and you have a real development curve for these players. And I don't know. I think it speaks to the scouting department. I think it speaks to what they look for in defensemen right now. And it brings you back to what you said earlier. Like, this could be a reason to go defense. Like, what you want in your defenseman now. And, Artem Levshunov his comps are Alex Pietrangelo. Hedman's the comp for Salaya. Like, if you can see that in that player, take him 100%. I'm not going to be against it. If he turns out to be a top pair guy, do it, because you already got your second pair defenseman / third pair, depending on how you want to stack it with Korchinski eventually. Like, you're good. Like, this is, like you said, it's the first big piece of the core locked up. And I'm looking at their cap friendly right now. From the looks of it, they got about 6 or 7 forwards locked up before RFAs. I'd imagine the only ones I'd imagine staying are probably Anderson and Reese Johnson. And then as for the defense, you got 4 defensemen locked up and you got a goalie locked up. So you have 8 forwards locked up, because I forgot about Hall and LTIR. But you got some work to do. That's for sure. And I feel like the spots that are open on this roster are very fillable come free agency. And you should see growth in the players that you're extending, because you're going to build around these players now. It's not about tearing it down. It's about building it up now.
Yeah, and I think the biggest problem with this organization is, like, yeah, they've got forwards in there here and there. Like, Alex DeBrincat was a nice find in the second round, but it feels like they could never develop and, most importantly, keep a defenseman that they drafted recently. And Alex Vlasic is the first example of that in how long? But
when was the last defenseman they extended?
Yeah. Well, how many players besides like their first ELC or like first bridge contract have they kept? I think it's none. Yeah.
Like, I'm not even bullshitting. It's none. At least from 2016 onward, it's none. The longest tenured defenseman is Murphy.
Longest tenured player. Yeah.
Yeah. It's, I don't know, speaks to volumes on the last regime, that's for sure. But once again, the last regime drafted Vlasic, so they had some. Just toss Stevie. That was so funny. I just.
She loves stealing my seat. Like,
honestly, she's an alpha. That's what alphas do. You should just get used to it. Honestly, you're such a beta.
Real. She has plus 100 aura. I got a negative 100 aura.
Those videos are so funny. Just like kisses the guy on the forehead. It's like too much aura for him.
My favorite one still is the one where they bump into each other and then the guy like goes on the ground onto his knees and then like the animated wolf face comes
That's
out.
The best one.
Yeah.
Don't test my aura. Freaking wolf starts attacking him. Oh my god, it's the best.
Yeah, we did that in Charlotte too. Just watched and listened to Brain Rot the whole time.
Yeah, made sure Connor wanted to self-suck a pistol or whatever he said.
Yeah, it was epic. We got Connor on the Brain Rot too. Like, we were playing it the whole time. He's like, "What the fuck is this shit?" And then now he's sending us videos to our group chat. We've succeeded. Yes.
But yeah. So Vlasic extension, great. No complaints there.
Yeah.
The next extension, I think, actually was a little more than I anticipated. Lucas Reichel got a 2-year extension. Yeah. I think it's 1.2 per year, correct?
Correct.
Correct. Happy for Reichel, obviously. Like, this is kind of like a prove-it contract, which is something I didn't even think he was going to get a second year. I figured they just give him 1 year, like 1.5, and just say you got to prove yourself. But it's a make or break year for him. There's no other way to put it. He had a good stint in Rockford when he got sent down at the end of the year this year. He had a good stint at the end of this year, but you got to put it together for an 82-game season, or else. He's fortunate they're in a spot to where they could be patient with him.
Mm-hmm.
You can only be patient for so long before he just loses his value entirely. And he's going to be 22 this year. Who knows? Maybe he takes the Vlasic step. Maybe he puts on 15 pounds in the offseason and changes his work ethic and defend in the defensive zone and figures out how to use his speed as an asset, which is something that I keep screaming about his game because he is faster than 95% of the people on the ice. Jacob Trouba just murdered someone. Oh my God.
Yeah, there's still games happening. Like, is the Carolina-New York game in overtime?
Yeah, the Carolina game's happening. So Trouba missed a hit and then clipped him in the head with the skate.
Oh,
yeah.
Most average Jacob Trouba play.
Dude, the front of the foot hit him in the back of the head. That's not a good combo. But yeah, the Reichel extension, I think that's a prove-it deal. There's going to be more talent on the roster next year, so that'll be interesting. See where he slots in the lineup. But I don't think there's much else to say besides it's a make or break year for you because either that or you're getting buried in Rockford. There's no other way to put it.
Mm-hmm. Get ready to learn Ice Hog ease, pal.
Yeah, seriously.
Rest in peace to the Ice Hogs who lost to, I think, the Grand Rapids Griffins.
Oh, wow. Detroit finally won something. Get excited.
Also, 2-0 Dallas right now.
Yep. That's my Stanley Cup champion right there.
Yeah, to touch up on Lukas Reichel. You are looking for Vlasic step out of him, and obviously for Reichel that would be you don't want to go crazy, but I don't know, 40 points, 35, 40 points. If he can do that next year and be a lot more consistent, that would be nice. And we saw with Philip Kurashev, first couple of years, he wasn't first full season in the NHL, didn't really put up much offense and kind of wondered what's his role. But this year he really figured it out, got 54 points and, had developed really good chemistry with Connor Bedard. I think the big thing for me with Lukas Reichel is he Frank Nazar is only going to help him. I think there's less pressure on him, so I think he can go out there and just kind of do his thing and not have to worry about anything else. Is kind of what I think now. But yeah, it's the hardest part. You never want to give up on a player too early. I mean, we've seen it bite the Blackhawks many times before in the past, but also you can't keep him forever if he's not developing. Yeah, I would say this year, and if he doesn't figure it out, then he's got 1 year left at 1.2 million. You can easily trade that and maybe get another reclamation project. So yeah, move on to the next topic. So we'll actually get into some playoff talk. We'll talk about the first round. I think it went mostly to plan. Rangers swept the Capitals. I think I jokingly said, "Oh, the Capitals are going to win in 7 and come back from 3-1 down." But I mean, that was my one goofy pick. But obviously, Rangers sweeping it in 4 is not surprising at all. Same with Carolina beating the Islanders in 5 games. But I mean, more interesting series, obviously. The drama of the Boston-Toronto series, Boston being up 3. We were watching that game 4, and man, just the way everything was going, I'm oh shit, there was no energy in that building. We could hear everyone was frustrated on the bench. Of course, there was the viral clips of Nylander and Matthews getting mad at Mitch Marner and Mitch Marner just being ripped to shreds on national television. And then Toronto having Matthews out of the lineup, Joseph Woll coming back in, forcing a game 7. And of course, Toronto blows it again. And there was obviously the angle of Boston potentially blowing a 3-1 series lead again. So, man, what a crazy dramatic series. But of course, it ends in Maple Leafs heartbreak again.
Who could ever saw this coming?
I know. We don't have 4 previous years of us talking about the Maple Leafs collapsing.
No, certainly not. Not a chance. Never, ever, ever. Yeah, first round kind of went exactly how you predicted. Little couple
Yeah,
surprises in there for me. Didn't think Vancouver was going to hang on to the third string goallie and let alone get a
I
shutout in
didn't
the game
either. Yeah.
deciding game.
Hmm.
Pia Suter series
Let's
deciding goal.
go.
Uh, Dallas, Vegas was everything it was advertised to be, just a gong show. It's what you want playoff hockey to be. Like if I wanted to take an alien and show them the first series, I'd show them that one. Florida, I think, just out lightning the Lightning, which is I don't think gets talked about enough. Florida finally also got revenge on the Lightning, which was something they haven't done the last two times they've faced them. And Edmonton, I think, just shellacked LA. Something I didn't really
I was
expect to
kind of
happen.
surprised at that. Like, I thought the Oilers were going to take. I thought it was going to be similar to what we saw last year, but yeah, the Oilers just kind of stepped on their throat, and there wasn't really, to me, there was never a moment in that series where I'm like, oh damn, the Kings might get them, because 2022, the first year they met, Kings were up 3-2 in the series, and I think it was tied 2-2 late into Game 6 when Tyson Berry scored a goal with 3 minutes left, and then they took Game 7 on a Mike Smith shutout and a Cody C goal. I can't say that with a straight face, but then yeah, last year I think it was Game 4. Kings were up 2-0 or 2-1 in the series. They're up 3-0 in Game 4. They switched from Stuart Skinner to Jack Campbell, and Oilers go on to win that series, but then they go lose to the Golden Knights. So yeah, I think that was the first stress-free series they played, besides maybe the Calgary one, where just felt like they were in control the whole time. And I was definitely most surprised by how Stuart Skinner responded, because man, Game 2, I'm like, oh, we can't go through this shit again, where the Oilers are clearly outplaying the Kings and Stuart Skinner can't just even be average, and then goes on the road, only allows 1 goal in LA, didn't give up a single a goal on the penalty kill, and obviously their power play was devastating. And looking into the second round now, like the Rangers and Hurricanes have been great hockey. I mean, the first game was great, and now Game 2 is in overtime. I think Dallas, Colorado is going to be great too. I always remember the 2020 series that they played against each other in the bubble, and I think that's one of the more underrated series in the last while, but obviously everyone's going to forget it because it was played in the bubble. Um, and then Boston took Game 1 on the road in Florida. I think
Dominant
Florida
game
still,
one.
yeah, I think Florida still takes it, but I don't think the Bruins are meant to be taken lightly.
Well, Jeremy Swayman's not meant to be taken lightly. Career high in saves in that game. I think he had 37 saves against Florida. Like in
I
Florida,
feel it was more than that.
Florida's getting some greasy effing chances. Like I was watching that game a little bit last night, and every chance Florida got was high danger. It felt like, and Swayman was up to the task. Also shout out Brandon Carlo, dad straight goal day of this kid being born. Always awesome. It's going to be a fun second round, man. Like, that's kind of what I kept thinking when the first round was bad. It's like the first round's bad because the teams that need to win.
Yeah, the first round was kind of mid, to be honest. Mm-hmm. Like, obviously, the Vegas-Dallas series was great. Colorado-Winnipeg, I kind of mentioned earlier. Like, I thought that was going to be it was a fun, like, crazy high goal scoring series, but I thought it was going to go 6-7 games. But yeah, Colorado just, man, Connor Hellebuyck shot the bed. I don't know what else to say other than that. Yeah, Oilers dealt with the Kings. Sorry?
Hellebuyck shut the bed. The team defense was not what it was the whole year.
No.
Disaster class by Winnipeg after Game 1. There's no other way to put it.
Disappointing, really. And that's the second year in a row that they've won the first game of round 1, but then dropped 4 in a row. Did the same thing to Vegas last year.
Yeah, they had a stacked roster this year. Like, oh my God, Igor just robbed Carolina. Holy. But, yeah, dude, when I say that, like, I'm so pumped for Edmonton, Vancouver tomorrow night. Like, Dallas out Colorado, I'm about to turn on once this overtime game ends. Like, just gonna be a war. Just like Dallas is gonna have the most earned cup run ever by the end of this because they're gonna beat Colorado. Then they got to play McDavid or Vancouver. Then you play whoever's coming out of that gong show of an Eastern Conference. Mm-hmm. Like, Got to be one of the craziest cup runs I've ever seen if it ends up happening.
Oh yeah, round one. Congratulations, you won the Western Conference. Your reward is to play the team that won the 2023 Stanley Cup and beat you on the way last year. Have fun. Oh, you beat them in a crazy 7 games. Oh, now you got to play the 2022 Stanley Cup champions who are well rested and their stars are firing on all cylinders. But it seems to be no problem for them so far. They're up 2-0.
Mm-hmm.
The power of Ryan Suter. Oh, the Jay Fresh treat. Ryan Suter versus Zach Parise. and Wyatt Johnston. God damn it, man. Like with the Stars, we talk all the time of their crazy 2017 draft. Well, their 2021 draft, they got Wyatt Johnston and Logan Stankoven. Man, who could have ever seen those players being good?
Yeah, certainly the Blackhawks had a good draft like that in 2021. Oh man,
I hate it. Nightmare. But yeah, I expect that's going to be a long series. I think Carolina and New York is going to be a long series. I think Florida, but like I don't think there's a quick easy series. I think all these teams are. I think it's all 6-7 games.
I don't know. I think Edmonton could maybe give Vancouver a problem, and that might end up sooner. But that's just me being a bias because I think McDavid's just on a mission this year. And it shows in his play on the ice, and it shows in the team's play. And if Skinner can hold up, God, who stops that team, man?
That's the thing. Like the way they won those games on the road in LA made me believe. I'm like, okay, maybe they didn't get the big name at the deadline, but if they just play better as a team, like better goaltending, better team defense, maybe that's just all they need. And McDavid and Draisaitl will be McDavid and Draisaitl.
Yeah, I mean if I'm them, that's what I bank on every year I get in the playoffs. Let's be honest. Like you got freaking Batman and Robin back there. Like what else do you need? Just make sure everyone does their job. Yeah, Zach Hyman just on steroids, but that's a whole other thing. But remember, he comes from a rich family, so it's not family.
So yeah, I got Colorado in 7 games. I think the Oilers beat the Canucks in 6 games. I was just unimpressed by how the Canucks beat the Predators. Like it feels like one of those series where the Canucks didn't win. It feels like more so the Predators gave that to them. Like game 4, I'm pretty sure I was watching that game with Connor. I went to go take a shower. It was 3-1 Nashville, and then I come back and I hear, "Oh my God, Brock Besser hat trick!"
That game was
Colt Sissons had a wide open net. Surely that's never happened before, where Sissons had a chance to, win a big game and didn't actually score. We'll never be able to go look back and find any other game like that. But yeah, that game, I think it was game 1. They had a lead going to the third. They blew that. Game 6, like just mid-off game. Same with, I think, game 3 is like, yeah, not impressed with how Vancouver won it, but also I don't think they're going to be easy for the Oilers, but I think the Oilers have to win. This is as easy a route to the final as they have had in the McDavid era.
Western Conference Final is never going to be easy, but also like you should beat Vancouver. They have a third string goalie in against Connor McDavid. Like this should be, if you can stop your pucks, it should not be close. But also, who knows? Seeloffs might go crazy.
He might go Nutter Butters and maybe even go to with the sauce.
For real, what a save by Shesterkin. He's so locked in this overtime, dude. It's insane. Every time I look up, he makes a fucking $10 on Carolina. It's nuts.
Oh, that game is so good. Like I was like, my eyes were glued to it while I was waiting for you to join.
Dude, I haven't been able to watch the series much because the games have been going on while I've been working most of the time. But like, whoo, I knew this series is like you said, this is why the first round I was okay with sticking because like those two teams beat the crap out of their teams in the first round because we knew they were the better teams. And I think if we're being honest, like in my opinion, whoever wins that team might come out of it. Might come out of the East. Like I just they're both just juggernauts, as Chris Johnson would say. Yeah. Something that the Leafs were once upon a time when they got bounced from the first round.
Well, yeah, that's what I think about the West. I think it's Stars in 7 and then Oilers in 6. The East, I know they are up 1-0 right now, but I still think the Hurricanes pull it out. and 7. Like, I want that series to go 7. I've loved every minute of it so far. There's a chance by the end of this podcast it's 2-0 Rangers, but the Hurricanes, man, they gotta break through. But I mean, I could just as easily see the Rangers winning this series.
It's a coin toss. It's a coin flip.
Mhm.
This and the Colorado Dallas series are coin flips in my opinion.
Yeah,
Just because these are two teams that know each other so well. Like it's that can't be shut. And even Florida, Boston, to that matter. Honestly,
Yeah.
these are all going to be crazy because they're all rivals. They all play each other all the time, and they all know each other's play styles. It's going to be a chess match in every single series, and I feel like this game is the epitome of it. Carolina is about to put up 50 shots, and Igor is just not flinching. Like,
yeah, playoff Igor, man.
It's crazy, man. But remember, Igor fell off because he had like a 907 or something. When that's like above league average this year. Like,
Yeah,
give me a break. But oh god, Jarvis is so good, dude. Like, what does that contract look like this offseason? Like, real talk.
Blackhawks, obviously. Don't worry, they'll handle that.
For the Tampa Bay.
He'll get the Vlasic contract with the Blackhawks. Let's go.
Yeah, Jarvis is such a dog, though. Like, it's crazy.
Jarvis activate dog mode for real.
Dude, seriously, they just keep finding these guys. Like, when Nikishin gets in this lineup, it's gonna be a problem. Like, he's just gonna add so much. Like, it's gonna be right around the time where Jacob Slavin starts to decline a tad.
Yeah.
Dimitri
Dimitriov's going to free agency. Oh, here's this guy. Oh, speaking of which, talking more about the Bruins Panthers series. Mason Lohrei. They just found another Torrey Krug out of nowhere.
Yeah, what a snipe on Bobrovsky in game 1. Freaking, I think they got 4 goals from 4 defensemen in game 1, if I recall correctly. But
I can read off the goal scorers for the Boston Bruins game 1. So Matthew Tkachuk opened the goal scoring for the Panthers, but that's all they got. First goal scorer was Morgan Geekie, geeked up for Rio. Mason Lohrei got the second goal. Brandon Carlo with the dad strength got the third one. Justin Brazeau got the fourth one. And then empty netter for future Blackhawk Jake DeBrusk.
Goddamn right. Future lineman Frank
goddamn
Nazar,
right.
Jake DeBrusk to you, sir.
Oh my lord.
Nah, just kidding. He's playing with Bedard. Taylor Hall's playing with Nazar. This is
Another former Bruin.
Or we just put them both with Bedard. Fuck it.
But yeah, this is gonna be a great second round. I mean, all the games have suggested other. We haven't seen Oilers Canucks yet, which is crazy. I don't think the Oilers have
starts
played a game in
tomorrow.
a week now.
Fucking nuts. And it's not till like
I mean, the scheduling has just been so shit. Like having the second round start when there's a game 7 going on between like the best series in the first round between Dallas and Vegas. Like, yeah, whatever. Stevie, you're interrupting too much. You keep coming back in and out.
me when I'm setting off the fire alarm. I don't know. My brain is so cooked right now.
It is rotted. Your brain is rotted.
You know, the amount of TikToks I get from you about it, it is. It is. All right. It really
Hey, come on. I send Ian Hawk edits every now and then. Like, I try to diversify it. Neil Armstrong landed on the moon. Ian Hawk was there to greet him with the American flag. All right. So that's. I don't know if you have anything else to talk about the playoffs. I think we could. There's so much we're going to be able to touch on in the next couple of weeks. We have Ben Pope coming on Sunday night, so we'll be able to talk a bit more on the Blackhawks season. But I just want to, unless you have anything else you want to bring up, I just want to end the podcast off on this note.
What note do you want to end on? Let's go.
Oh, I just want to say rest in peace, Bob Cole. That was the other news I got when I was traveling in the car. Just the GOAT, especially up here in Canada. Just so many memorable calls like that.
Oh baby!
Oh baby! What a goal! Lemieux! Oh baby! Or Skewer! Gio! Sakic! Yeah, just so many memorable calls.
Hanzus wins the goal for Chicago.
Yeah. Hanzus wins the game for Chicago, and the pass scores.
Yeah. Rest in power.
For real.
He and Dave Strait are calling a mean ass game up there right now.
Yeah, for
Real
real.
talk.
Rest in peace to him too. Both with goated calls on the Patrick Kane overtime winner against the Kings.
Yeah, you grew up with the Cole and I grew up with the Schrader one. Both are equally iconic. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah,
Oh, man.
both parts, big parts of our childhoods. Yeah, my cat just won't shut up. So, unless you got anything else to add, we can end this podcast. I felt we were going to go so much more longer than this, but I think we touched on everything we need to touch. We'll
We
touch
were
on more
efficient.
when yeah, we were very efficient indeed. So yeah, it was nice doing a podcast again. I got nothing else to say. If you're a listener, be sure to give us a 5-star rating on your preferred podcast platform. If you're watching our beautiful faces on YouTube, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and notification bell so you don't miss out on anything. So yeah, thank you for being a friend. Thank you for tuning in, and we shall talk another time. Peace out, y'all.